Okay, Gary here with Kawai and Jay, and also my co-host Alika. There you go.
That's the intro. That's how it started. Thank you guys for coming. Really appreciate your time.
Of course.
For people that don't know, Jay is a legendary black belt. He was from the first generation of American black belts. He's been doing jiu-jitsu for a very long time, and he's going to tell us some great stories today. He is Kawai's head coach, and he started Kawai when Kawai was about this tall. Kawai is probably, like the general consensus, the top under 18 athlete for jiu-jitsu in Hawaii.
Correct.
But that's going to change soon because Kawai is now competing in the adult bracket.
Mm.
So today we're going to just get some cool stories and talk some history and get some future plans. Yeah, let's go. I wanted to actually start with the comment of, Jay, you are like impossible to Google. Because when I type your name in,
My other brother pops up.
yeah, and then there's a bunch of you and like the kids and everything, and the name itself, like you guys all have the same name.
We all have the same name. My dad wanted us to all be the same name. I think it was all because when I was born, he wanted to name me the same as him,
Okay.
and then they were telling him, you can't do that. And he
Because-
goes, why? He goes, I can name my kid what I want to name him.
Right. Yeah.
And to prove his point, he went down the line and kept doing it until he got to Reagan. And the only reason Reagan has a different name was because my dad wasn't in the room when they were filling out the papers.
Oh,
So
yeah.
my mom
Your mom was like, I'm
just, your name's Reagan. You don't even
and this chaos right now. What would if he was another JD? What would his nickname have been?
I have no clue where that would have gone. He might have gone to SJ, or
SJ.
he might have took the LJ name.
I gotcha. That's funny. You guys, you were in Hilo, and you were like the first generation of like jiu-jitsu athletes in Hawaii. The guy who brought it in was Keenan Cornelius' dad, right? Tom Carlos?
Tom got BJ started in jiu-jitsu a long time ago. Yeah, his first instructor. He went and told BJ, hey, BJ, I want you to come down because he used to be a tenant of ours.
Okay.
In one of the Quonset huts that we had. So BJ went down. He told him no how many times. No, I don't want to karate. Or his one was actually, I think, Taekwondo or whatever it was. And then they got down there. He kept asking him and said, okay, I'll go. And then he went down there and he beat BJ. And BJ goes, oh, I'm going to learn this. And then after a couple of weeks of training with him, then he started giving him a hard time.
Okay.
And then he started tapping him out in the next month or something. So
Okay.
he said, oh, I want you to keep training. I'm going to bring the guy in from Honolulu to help train you, see if you like to do this, because I was thinking about getting other guys here.
Okay.
So he brought somebody up from Helson's, I think, at the time, and then they were training each other in that part. Then BJ started just beating him up, and he started getting bored with the thing, but he was doing really good, against everybody else.
Right.
So then Tom decided to ask my dad, hey, I got to go up to California and have to interview this guy, Half Gracie.
Wow.
So I was wondering if BJ wanted to go up, if you would let BJ go up.
How old was BJ at this time?
I think he was 17, 18,
Okay.
right at that time. And then he said, go ahead. He's not doing anything right now anyway. Go ahead, take him up there. And he went up and called up my dad a few days later and said, hey, I want to stay up here.
Wow.
I had a great time, and I'm just getting beat up.
So I just want to live in California now.
I just want to go up here and then learn as much as I can, because I went up there and I just got beat up by everybody.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah. So where did you jump in all this?
I jumped in after a few months later, or almost a year later.
Mm-hmm.
They had Reagan went up a few times to California to train with them.
Okay.
BJ came back home a few times, showed him some stuff. And then I figured I did all this judo, the aikido, Tai Chi, and a bunch of different martial arts when I was a kid growing up. I think, And I lost to him in 17 seconds with a mounted triangle.
Oh, wow.
At that point, I decided, okay, I got to learn something so this never, ever happens again.
Uh-huh.
Like that, the sibling rivalry too brings you like, I can't lose to you. I can't lose to that. I can't lose to you.
So Hilo kind of has this reputation as one of the last places where two people will get out of their cars and honorably fight. Not always, but honorably fight, shake hands, walk away, and go their separate ways, right? Everybody knows each other, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, did Jiu-Jitsu play a role in any of those types of things for you guys?
Jiu-Jitsu played a role as far as helping us win.
Right.
You know, in those situations.
Right. For sure.
What it was you'd go out, you'd go have fun, have the greatest time. You're out there drinking, having a good time. And then all of a sudden somebody gets mad that, oh, you were talking to their ex-girlfriend or whatever.
Right.
Then you got to go outside in the parking lot.
Uh-huh.
Then after you not beat him up or whoever gets beat up, then you understand, okay, you win. And life goes on from there. You come back the next weekend, okay, it's on again.
Round 2, let's go.
So then it goes again, and then until someone figures out, okay, that I guess you're going to be the top dog here for a little while.
Oh my gosh.
Do you think that mentality like plays a role for a fighter growing up, or in
It does. It's sad to say that it was great for us, but it's not something you want to see kids doing too much of now.
Yeah,
because you understand the risks of what things lead to now.
Mm-hmm.
People get a little out of hand. They want to use a weapon now.
right?
So.
Yeah, understandable.
You were sorry, shifting a
No,
little
go
bit.
ahead.
You were in the room at Half Gracie's like way back when.
I went to a few of the classes up there.
Okay.
BJ was nice enough to invite me to go when I went up to visit them. And the reason why he invited me is back in the day, it still happens in a lot of schools. The new guy comes in, you got a colored belt on. This is my house.
Right.
And then they just come so hard at you, and you just think,
Right.
what the and then you go, okay, this is how I guess it's going to be. And you start rolling around training and stuff.
Right.
And then you realize, oh, I guess he is okay.
Like that initial feeling out period, right?
Yeah.
There's a like different environment then, but that was like really known as one of those tough like sink or swim gyms, right? And, like that was the reputation of House back in the days.
You go into the schools up there, especially if you're wearing a different color belt, they are gunning to just smash the crap out of you.
Yeah.
They just either want to hurt you or just demolish you.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Was that at that point was like Osiander and Dave
Camarillo.
Camarillo, sorry. Were they all in the room at that point?
Yeah. Dave was there. Auslander was there. Everybody was there. It was really interesting, though, being up there and seeing all those guys and see where they're at now and everything else.
Did you guys realize like how important or how legendary that room was going to be at that time? I mean, because Jiu-Jitsu was really small. Or was it just like, hey, let's go up here and let's show these guys what we got?
BJ was up there doing the training up there because that was the best place that he heard of to go up and train with the guys up there. And those guys are seriously tough. They were super tough back then. I remember my brother JD had been in Vegas. He trained with some guys up there with John Lewis's school.
Okay.
And so forth. But every time we go to California, that's where we were at, is House.
Okay, nice. Do you have any comparisons when you guys were training there to like you were head coaching, you had your own program, and seeing the young kids come up? Like what do you see the major differences are from back then to now?
Back then, the guys were in it to fight. I mean, just literally just get out there and just scrap anybody. Now it's just for the tournament wise or something. They're just going to try and win in the tournaments and so forth. Right. But up there, it's just I want to be able to live this weekend. This guy's going to come after me.
With the tournament scene, because back then there weren't a lot of competitions, and then if you wanted to go to like Worlds wasn't Worlds was in Brazil, right? Like, how do you see it now with the like you can compete as much as you want, you can get tournaments all over America, any country really. How do you see that influencing the like fighting jiu-jitsu versus like the sport competition jiu-jitsu?
What was the question? What are you trying to
Just like the differences in how the amount of tournaments and the rule sets have influenced the style of grappling. Because like you said, when I started, it was like you're doing jiu-jitsu so that you can use it in MMA. You're doing it to fight, and then when we have like now where we have our own, like it's just sport jiu-jitsu, and you can do well in that. There's obviously techniques that I would never do in an MMA fight, right? And if I want to be successful at sports jiu-jitsu, sometimes my game deviates off of what I used to do when I just like get on top and hit them in the face. But you've been around since it was like the only option was you're using your jiu-jitsu to fight, and now we have completely sport grappling. So just like the training and how kids are learning, how the beginners are learning, like how that's changed over the years.
It's more, everything went switched more to the sports side of it, as far as for tournaments and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the training side of it is, I still like training the students, even the kids, to control the position more, going for control. So if it was a fight, you can just unload a little bit on the guy versus sport where you're going to get whacked around a few times. It's good to show them the new stuff, the pels and all the other positions, holding on, but they need to know that, if they can touch my face, they can punch my face.
Right. Yeah.
It's the main thing they got to learn. That way that they're learning the jiu-jitsu for sport. They end up getting whacked in the face a couple of times. This don't work. I'm just covering up. But when you start doing it for like the self-defense wise, they're just putting their palm on your face. Well, that means he can just line up and just unload. Oh. If he touches your face, that means he can punch your face. Do you like getting punched in the face? Nope.
So do you try to incorporate any of that into your normal classes, or?
I tried to before at the UFC. They didn't like that idea too much. They want to save that more for their MMA classes and so forth.
Okay.
But it should fall into the part as your training just for self-defense wise.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for sure. I mean, not everyone's going to be a competitor. Some people are here for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
And being able to, if it ever does happen, being able to keep yourself safe is such an important skill.
Yeah, we had this guy that trained with us a long time ago. He fought in a couple of the shows, and for whatever reason, he kept pulling half guard.
Oh my goodness.
No matter what we tell him in training, okay, you can't use this position. This is just it's just half mount.
Right. Yeah.
So don't use this. It works good for sport, but it's horrible for MMA. And then he realized that during the match, multiple times, in different matches too.
Oh no!
He always wanted to do it.
Yeah, I used to like being on top in half guard, especially when you have the ability to like touch someone's face very hard.
Repeatedly.
Repeatedly. I was like, I felt half guard was actually easier to keep the person pinned versus when I would pass. I would have a hard time, especially from mount. I would have a hard time. I would keep guys in half and push them up against the cage. Like, we're just going to stay here because I can stay here the rest of the round with very little effort.
Yeah.
I think half guard's kind of dangerous sometimes.
Agreed.
How did you see Kawai's progression from when he came into the gym? How old were you when you started?
I started when I was 6, I believe.
6? Like
6 or
his
5.
progression from like a child to a preteen to like a young adult?
When he came in at, was it 5 or 6, he had the heart to want to train. So did his dad for him.
He still does.
It was really fun watching them. When they don't know anything, it's the best time to watch them trying to wrestle each other. And then you watch the gears turn as they learn how to do the positions, and they start putting stuff together. And then you see the gears turn, and you see their face and their dad's face. Yeah, right. And that's the greatest thing when you're training the kids and stuff. So that's the fun part.
Do you think it's the individual? Is it the gym? Is it the coaches? Like what really plays the biggest factor in their progression and them sticking with the sport?
For them to stick with the sport, they have to find an enjoyment factor out of it. Some kids come in, they hate it their first day. They hate it their second day. Oh, I'm just getting beat up. it's the humility side they're learning in that part
Yes.
Right.
is the most important part of it. If they come in and just start smashing guys, they're gonna like it, and then as long as they're winning, they're gonna like
Right.
it. Once they get beat, oh, this sucks. I ain't gonna do this anymore. But if they start off getting tuned up a little bit here and there, and then they start putting it together, then it works out really good for them.
Wow.
I remember Kawhi had his arch nemesis, what was this, Bryce?
Bryce.
When they first started, it was great watching those two guys go after each other.
Bryce still training?
I don't really know. I don't think so.
We gotta go find him. see where he's at.
Let him defend his honor.
So when you started, you then it was challenging. You caught some cracks.
Yeah. I was used to get caught in triangles before.
What kept you coming back?
Coach Day.
Coach.
Coach Day. Yeah. Coach Day and my parents too. Yeah. And then it was also like internally inside of me, I was like, even if I keep getting caught in this triangle, I know eventually I'll learn how to get out of it.
Right.
And so the way I learned at least was Coach Day would make me start the roll in the triangle and would have
Brilliant.
me work and escape out of it. And every single time I got caught, I had to do burpees. But eventually the switch and the light turned on for me, and eventually I was able to get out. And I think after that I started to realize how much I really enjoyed the sport and how much I loved it, just because of like all of that conflict, the internal, the external conflict, and being able to get over it. I think that's when I started to really enjoy it.
Was there any anything specific you remember your coach telling you, or any consistent message you kept hearing that kept you coming back?
Ooh. That's a hard one. You told me so many things before. Oh, there's a lot. I don't think I could name one specific one. There was a lot. Definitely a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, very cool. So you just fought in Submission Battleground. That was your second time competing as an adult.
First
First
actually,
time?
I think. Yeah, this is my first time
Okay.
competing against actual adults.
An actual adult. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how you feel, what the differences are, or like is it intensity, is it strength from fighting under 18 young adults to like adults? Like what do you think was the biggest difference or your biggest takeaway from that match?
I think the biggest difference for me, when I was competing against juveniles and kids that were my age or teens that were my age, we always used to just go at it. I don't think there would ever be a stalling point unless one of us had complete control. But we were always going at it. We would always scramble. We would always get our positions, go back and forth. Because we had that cardio, we had the conditioning, we had the gas tank to just keep doing it.
Okay.
And at the same time, we also had the technique behind us as well. So even though we were scrambling and we were pretty much scrapping, we also had the technique that backed it up.
Yeah.
And then this past weekend, going against my first time in the adults at least, I felt like it was more, you're going to really see how good your technique is. Because, of course, the guy is going to be stronger than me. I'm only 17, and he's like grown,
You're pretty strong.
I'm trying. But going against him, there wasn't as much like scrap or scrabbling that I thought there would be.
Okay.
Because I'm so used to having juveniles and teens move around with me.
Okay.
But going into adults, and I don't want to sound dick or cocky when I say this, but it's the gas tank that I have that very big advantage over. So my opponent, if he was to try and keep up, I don't think he would be able to, just because of youth and the age difference.
Age matters. Father time's undefeated, right?
Yeah. I've heard that before, that when the kids start, they don't have a lot of strength, right? They don't have the same, what do they call that when you're doing pull-ups? What kind of strength is that? Eccentric. They don't have a lot of eccentric strength, right? So they have to use more technique, right, to be really good. And then when they become adults and they learn, how to combine that together, it's a huge advantage for them. Whereas if you start a little later on in life, right, we already have that eccentric strength. You kind of miss that super technical aspect. And I think people kind of overlook kids for that quite a bit. They think, oh, they just started young, and that's it. It's just because they started young, and they don't really look into the details. That's pretty how do you say, cerebral of you to notice that. I think. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you think the length of the match matters? Like purple belt, IBJJF 7 minutes, right? This one was a 6-minute match. Your kids' matches, you're 5 minutes. So, like, do you think that the time also dictates how you're going to fight that match?
Definitely.
No?
I totally think so. Like, like for comparison, in like high level black belt athletes, like if you were to compare Daupra and Gavao or Mika Gavao, Mika, he's very fast paced and will keep the match going, does a lot of judo, does a lot of takedowns. But at the same time, he knows which opponents to pull guard on and play close guard and really take a technical standpoint. While Daupra, on the other hand, is always playing technical, always trying to control his opponent, and always just trying to beat the guy detail for detail. While Mika, he can scrap. So throughout those 10 minutes, Daupra is always playing that technical, just trying to beat you for detail and position. But Mika, if he sees those 10 minutes, he's trying to beat you in 2 or 3. You know,
he has everything. He has like the cheat code. He's fast. He's strong. He has cardio. He's so flexible. Like him and Maisa Bastos, they're cheaters. Like God gave them all the jiu-jitsu ability. They made a Brazilian. You know, it's not fair. Those two, take them out of the bracket. Like just put them on the side. Everyone else compete. That's not fair. Question for both of you: what is the preferred rule set you want to compete in, or you want to see your students compete in, or you yourself compete in? What is the preferred rule set?
As in,
like a points tournament, like an IBJJF, a sub only. Like, what would be the I want my fighters to be in this rule set to fight? ADCC, right? There's the modified points and the weird takedown rules.
I would definitely do sub only.
Sub only?
I would love to try that.
Time or no time?
No time.
No time, just to the sub.
And just keep going. I would love to do that.
Same here. The sub tournament would be a better one with the no time limit and so forth.
Okay.
I remember Helson had one year that Barrett entered.
Okay.
That thing took a couple of hours. His match was just so damn long. Barrett and someone from Kamoli a long time ago. And Helson had that tournament, and it just took forever, man, that thing. You can only have a certain amount of matches because that match just took forever.
Wow.
2 guard guys.
Remember when they had those icon tournaments where it was like you would fight everybody in the bracket?
Yeah.
And then the finals were unlimited? Like it was just like go to the sub?
Oh, yeah. Round after round after round.
I fought a 40-something minute match. It was strictly like who's just mentally tougher. We were cramping up in the match. Like I was stretching in the match. Like put them on the ground, like stretch my calf out a little bit. Like those matches were fun, but they were so tough. No time limit. Like oh my gosh, those are brutal.
Those have to be just one and done matches. Because there's no way you can have it at tournament style with a bunch of guys in your division and doing that.
Yeah. I did like the purity of it though. You knew like there's only one outcome. Like you have to tap this guy. And then the strategy behind like am I going to try and make this long? Am I going to try and get him out early? And you have to worry about the other stuff. I like not having to worry about an advantage.
Advantages, they always kill me.
Those are tough.
Yeah, the advantages are confusing. You know, like I don't know all the ways to score an advantage, or someone's going to get one on me. Like it definitely muddies the waters.
Because it's only based on how they perceive it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How much research do you do into like when you enter something, understanding the rules? Because there's not like a unified rule set. Like, are you sitting there like nitpicking on everything, or is it just like I got my game plan, I'm just gonna roll with it, and I'll just look at the illegal moves?
Usually when I train, I'm always training and rolling on the IBGF rules.
Okay.
Because I think that's the most tournament I'll ever do. The most consistent tournament that I'll ever do is IBJJF tournaments. So I'm always rolling and training under those rule sets. But if I'm doing like, for example, like submission battleground, I will always check the rule set before the matches, a couple weeks ahead, and plan out a game based off of those rules.
Yeah.
And if it was any other tournament like Naga, Triple Crown, I'll check the rules again.
Okay.
Because when I found out, for Naga at least, when I found out that 13 and over could start doing knee bars in the no-gi, that is all I did. I think every single no-gi match that I've won in Naga was all knee bars. I don't think I've ever won by anything else.
So we're going to see Nogi Kawai soon?
I would love to.
Yeah?
I would love to.
Okay, yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
That would be fun. That would be really fun.
Do you guys game plan it, your game plan together, or is it just, or do you come up with the majority of it and present it to Jay? How does that all work for you guys?
Back then, pre-COVID, we would. Pre-COVID, even a little bit after post-COVID. But since me and Coach Jay hardly see each other because we're not at one area every single day, it gets a little bit harder. Like especially for submission battleground, I'd have to reach out, or he would reach out to me, and we would always check in with each other and just see how it's going. So for Submission Battleground, at least this one was a little bit harder because I didn't have Coach Jay day and night to really plan it out.
And you guys are kind of in a transition period right now.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the future plans and maybe even like the reason why you're in the transition period?
Yeah. We're my transition period. I decided to separate with the UFC gym. I need care for how things were working out right at that time.
Okay.
So, figured, I'll give you guys to the end of the year to figure out what you guys want to do. If you guys want to change anything, no, then okay, I'll go on my own.
Oh.
So at that point now, I just got to figure out now, probably try to think about starting my own or go to another gym that has a good program going.
Do you have are you leaning one way or another as far as opening your own place, like having leads, or like, oh, I actually would like to work with these people?
No, I haven't picked a location. I'd like to open up another location again.
Okay.
It's hard though to compete with UFC as price point.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have a very affordable price point.
So it'll all just be quality of service is what it boils down to.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest factor. Like if the gym has a good environment, people like the vibe, the instruction's good, and then traffic, like location, you're going to go to something that you can actually make with class times. I think that's the most important factor, because if you put out a quality product, like people are going to purchase that product. Totally. Yeah. If you put out a bad product, people are going to realize it's a bad product.
Yeah. So we all know you were an instructor over there, right? That's all I know you as Jay, the Jiu-Jitsu instructor at UFC. Was there other role that you played there? Or?
No, I was the regional MMA director for the Pacific region.
Okay.
For the UFC gyms.
Wow.
So they had me dealing with the guys up in Puyallup at one time, and then Vegas.
Okay.
As well as the Hawaii's gyms and our Hilo gym.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Nice. So then just going back to like coaching, or like you're going to go like head coach, owner, and take on a whole different set of responsibilities?
No, because we had that gym in Hilo that I started with BJ a long time ago.
That was the Penn training facility. Yeah. Okay.
And that one we did really well with.
Wow.
And we decided to just switch it over to a UFC gym, brand recognition wise and so forth.
It's the same. It's the same spot.
Actually, no. We moved it from originally we were in that Quonset hut that the Taekwondo school was in, and then we moved it to this cracker factory that we bought. Yellow cream crackers, and then so I gutted the building, and then they had a big diesel oven.
Okay.
That I had to take apart, and diesel oven was weird because I never understood how can you cook with diesel fuel.
That's a little weird.
But that's what they had when they were in there, and I took that apart, cleaned everything out. We did the bathrooms and stuff in there. Thing looks beautiful now. And then a few years later, moved over here. Then we decided to buy a bowling alley, and we bought the bowling alley and turned that into the UFC gym.
I gotcha. That old Penn training facility was something else. I would go down there. I had a friend in college. We were like white blue belts back then. You'd show up in that room. It'd be like everybody. BJ was still like the champ. We'd show up in that room and be like, look at that. Oh, look at this Cholos on. Like, oh, let's go roll with them. It was crazy to see. Like, I have a picture that has like, I don't know, like 7 black belts, like all legends, and it's like me and my friend in the front, like we were the only non-black belts in the whole row. It was like one other like purple belt or something. And it was like, this is the coolest picture I've ever taken. But it was cool to see like that building was putting out UFC champions. There were, depending on when you went, like superstars would be rolling through, and it's like you didn't need state of the art anything. It's like you just need good training, and it goes so far.
Yeah.
That was a really cool time. You told me a story. I'm going to switch it a little bit. You told me a story about Reagan and him competing and just kind of grabbing a belt. And I thought it was like the funniest thing I've heard. I've never heard the story before. I would just love to get that on film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If we could do that.
Yeah. This is a while back. I guess this is when the Blue Belt division, when the Worlds were the Mundials, and they were only held in Brazil.
In Brazil, okay.
The BJ went up, wanted to go up and compete that year in the Blue Belt division.
Okay.
And then
what year was this?
I can't remember what year it was, but they had to go up there. So we figured, oh, Reagan will go with you, keep you company, hang out, be a good sparring partner for you to get you ready for the match. So they went up. They're hanging out up there. Came time, the day for the tournament. And then BJ's up there getting ready. Reagan's thinking to himself, watching the matches go on. Hey, I can do this.
And he's a white belt at the
He
time.
is a white belt at the time, and he decided he was going to compete, but they didn't do white belts at the time.
Right.
So he borrowed somebody's blue belt from the academy, signed up, and then paid his money and then competed. And the neat thing is, he won.
Wow.
He just walked through everybody except his first guy. His first guy was tough. He said that guy was just super strong. And Reagan had to beat him with the mounted triangle, covering his nose and mouth.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
That is so crazy.
It sounds like you, as brothers, like you guys all managed your training together. Is that correct? Or you guys decided what direction you guys were going to go together? Or
No, we all trained at different places for the most part for a little while because everybody was in different locations.
okay.
Like JD went to Las Vegas, BJ went to California. Reagan would go from once in a while go visit BJ up there.
Okay.
And you were
I was in Honolulu.
Honolulu? Okay.
I go back up and you get beat up by Reagan. That's why I decided, okay, I'm going to start training.
But you guys were all monsters. So like, is it the genetics or like what made you guys all so good?
Probably our dad saying you got to make sure. You know, like when were playing soccer back in the day, it was you don't stop till your face hits the net. So you just got to keep training till you figure it out, get better at one thing, move on to the next. The key is to just try to get to the best position that you can get to in there.
I think in life, that's great advice.
Yeah.
That's really great advice.
Yeah.
Kawai, what's the plans post high school? Because you're coming up on graduate high school, making some adult decisions. Is it Hawaii? Is it moving away from Hawaii? Is it starting the gym? Is it continue to be a competitor? What's on your plate right now?
So as of right now, school-wise at least, as of right now, my mom has me, or is about to have me in the cybersecurity program.
Okay.
Where once I finish it, I get all my certs, all my certificates, and they can start looking for jobs for me.
This is in high school.
And this is high school, yeah. So this is
You're gonna get certificates in high school?
yeah, a little bit before I grad. So this course is out of school. It's with one of my mom's friends. And basically, when I'm done with it, I'll get the cert, and then they'll start looking for jobs, and I can start applying, and then I can start, quote unquote, working from home almost,
Right.
and getting paid for it. So I've always worried about a consistent source of income.
Right,
So that's
right.
one route right there.
So these are extra, like you're getting high school credit for these courses?
No, so this
No?
is out of school. Yeah, this is
so
out of school.
You have regular school, then you have like extra work.
Yeah.
Good job, mom and dad.
I know. Thank you.
Do you know which certifications you're going after?
No, not at the moment right now. I'm still trying to do my research around all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, but once I do, I'll gun ho for that one right
Awesome.
there.
So get the
Awesome,
search,
awesome.
get the work from home job, and then.
And then train 24/7 right there. 25/8 maybe. But yeah, that's cut. Like for me, I've always had this argument with my mom of, nah, I could make it out there. I could make it just off of jiu-jitsu, guarantee.
Yeah.
And then she really had to sit me down and really had to tell me, like, in Hawaii, that's going to be really hard for you. You
In
can
Hawaii,
try.
it'd be hard.
Like, I will support you 100%. You can try, but I'm just going to give you the reality of it that it's going to be super hard.
Wow.
And then she started to just keep going on, and then started to bring up cybersecurity, like, try and go into that. Try go into that field. It's a good cost. You get paid very well. You can work from home once you kind of get up there.
Yep.
And then you can start focusing on jiu-jitsu and really start training like how you want to train.
Right.
So I had to really take that into consideration. And me being stubborn, because of my mom, being stubborn, I was like, no, I guaranteed I could do it just off of jiu-jitsu, guaranteed.
But you're 17, so you also know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part, at least. I would think so. I hope so.
Well,
But-
that's really good advice from your mom.
Yeah.
You know,
It is.
yeah, I know, or I have two friends that are both ADCC competitors. You know, top of the echelon, and they both have jobs. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what mom was telling me. Like, she started naming everybody here that had an academy but still had jobs. And I was like, no, what about this one? And mom was like, nope, he works here. And I was like, no, this one guaranteed. Nope, that one has a job too. That one actually has two, matter of fact. And I was like, oh. So I think at the beginning of this senior year, I was like, okay, I really got to start focusing and start taking cybersecurity a little bit more seriously now, since that's kind of the field that I want to go into. And it works out best revolving around jiu-jitsu, at least for me.
Yeah, very good, very good. Is leaving Hawaii an option?
No,
I'm not an option.
I'm not doing that unless I have to go to college.
I gotcha. I love it.
So
if we can keep the talent on island in the States,
that's what I'm
we can
hoping
create
for.
more talent.
That's what I'm gunning for right there. Like, I'm hoping, and I tell my parents this every time, if I can just win worlds in any belt, doesn't matter. I would like it to be black. I would love it to be black, win worlds out of here, strictly out of here, and have that under my resume. But if God only lets me do it in any belt, whether it's purple now or brown or hopefully black, I'll be perfectly fine with that at least. Yeah. But I'm hoping I can strictly do it out of Hawaii. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be special for sure.
I've had the pleasure of attending your classes when you teach. And you teach very well. I mean, you're 17 years old. You speak good in front of a crowd. I mean, at 17 years old, I would walk around like, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you." But yeah, I mean, you're making eye contact. You're telling jokes. Like, you're communicating very clear. How much does Jay have influence on your teaching? Because you don't teach like a child. You teach like you've been teaching for 5, 6, 7 years, and you're a 17-year-old purple belt.
I think I have almost been teaching for 5 years. So back when we were at UFC, we were at the Mililani location, and this was 2019, I think. So the year of 2018, Coach Shea told me, the year 2019 comes around, the first day you come back, you're going to help me and this other guy that we had, Brian, super good too. He doesn't train anymore, but I love being around him. You're going to help me and you're going to help Brian. You're going to help us with the kids class.
And you were like 13?
And I was 13 or 12 at the time, yeah.
This was intentional that you wanted to get them to be able to teach. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
So I've been coaching ever since that year. I was coaching only for a couple months because then we went into lockdown. That COVID 2020.
That did happen.
So at that point, I wasn't really coaching anymore. I wasn't even doing jiu-jitsu anymore. And then the gym opened back up. I was doing a couple classes again with the regular youth. And then 2022 came around, and then Coach Jay had me back teaching with him again. And then ever since then, I think I've been kind of consistently coaching at least.
Oh. You have your own squad of guys that kind of run around at tournaments. You're coaching them and everything. And
I have 2 boys.
Yeah, they're good. I role with them. They're good. That's really cool, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, I have 2 young boys.
You're
They're
already
both brothers.
mentoring the next generation.
Hopefully.
Was there like a point where you knew Kawhi was gonna be like who he is and what he's become? Was there like he's got it? Like, I'm gonna focus on him a little bit.
Not an exact point, but you could see it coming as he started progressively getting better and better. You just see that, but the thing where he really got better was after COVID. You notice the gear changed. He's able to do a lot more stuff.
Yeah,
he's more confident in his positions and his ability, and that's what it boils down to. And I think part of that is because you have them teach, so it reinstills it in their head how to do the position. They feel confident that they can teach the position correctly, and then they can perform it, and then in their mindset they've got it.
Yeah, like the reinforcing of like the stages of learning, like, oh, just do it, right? Like, I can just replicate it. Versus like, I understand it, I can apply it and correlate it to something. It's a process. It just takes some time. But I think, putting them in the role to teach it, like, you force them because they got to stand in front of these people. And they're looking at me and listening to me now.
I got to get this right.
Yeah. And it makes it worse when they're kids, too. Kids, they have no filter. And they don't listen.
Coach, come on, that's not how I learned it. Oh, that's funny. I would have to say, I met you probably during COVID.
Yeah, right around that time, a little bit after.
You were still small. You were still a child. I mean, like,
I think I met you when I was either orange, black, or green.
I don't think you were a green belt when I met you. I think you were probably like
blue,
orange,
or orange, black. Yeah.
Okay. I remember the first couple times sparring with you, and it was like you were a lot shorter and skinnier. And the first time, I believe it was at the Underground.
Yes.
And your mom was there.
Yeah.
And after we rode, and I was being like, oh, like, this is a cute kid. Let's see what you could do. Like, he's good. I talked to your mom, like he's pretty good. And I didn't see you for a few months after that. And I ran into you at Roots.
Yeah.
And your dad was, I didn't know it was your dad at the time. But he was like sitting on the side, and he was like videoing everything and watching it. And he was like, oh, like, no, he's really good. And you'd probably put on another 10 pounds. Like, yeah, he's really good. But I was an adult, and I was big, and I was like, yeah, it's okay. So I would always kind of like play to where you were at. Beginning of summer, I remember we sparred, and I was like, man, it's not much more until I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, I'm controlling this round, but like I'm holding on. Like I'm putting forth a lot of effort. Versus, you know, a year prior to that, it was like I just kind of let you do whatever, and I'll stop it if I feel like it. Then summer hit, and you were training every single day. Like I'd see like on Instagram, you're like, wake up, train, and then like eat lunch, and then train again. Probably August, September this year, we rode. I have nothing for you. I will never be able to pass your guard or catch you ever again unless it's a flash submission. I was like, seeing your progression. I mean, just from beginning of summer to the end of summer, I'm like, wow, it's so crazy to see. And I feel like I got you right at that point, like, kind of like you were saying, like right around COVID-ish, where it was like, oh, he's pretty good, to like, what just happened? So just wanted to say, man, it's been cool to see you grow in jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's just one of probably a dozen stories I've heard about you, Kawai.
When's the last time you rode with him?
Was that, I think it was an open mat at UFC Milani.
Yeah, I think that was one of the 10 a.m. open mats.
Yeah.
You got to get on the mats with him. Have him go full blast. It's terrifying.
I don't need to. He was already beating me up then. Like, I believe you.
Yeah, I don't know what clicked for me after COVID, but I tell this story to everybody. I think, and this is actually why orange white belt is one of my favorite belts, because I really felt the switch in myself at least. And I'll tell this story to anybody and everybody, but pre-COVID me, I think, would get smoked by anybody. Like, from 2014 to 2020, I was just, I could pull guard, I could play De La Hiva, I could shoot up triangles, and every single time in a tournament, if I caught the triangle, I'd finish it. But every tournament that I couldn't catch the triangle, I would always lose.
Okay.
And the best part, or the funny part is I was able to sweep from De La Hiva, but I would never get up, because I wasn't a strong passer back then. So I would sweep them, I would wait, parents in the back is yelling at me to get up, coaches yelling at me, get up, and I go right back down, and I just sit right back, and I'm just trying to fly up triangles again. But for some strange reason, 2020 hit, and then COVID hit, and for some reason it just clicked for me. Like everything just made sense at that point. Techniques, positions, just evolving, really. Like I could really see myself evolving after that orange white belt stage.
Wow. How did the rounds go between you guys?
Still kick my ass.
As he should. Oh, that's funny. I'm sorry, you were going to ask him something?
Oh, no.
I totally cut you off.
Oh, no, you didn't. You're good.
All right.
Wow.
Is there anything you guys want to talk about?
Go ahead.
No, I think I'm good, actually.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty good, unless you guys have any other questions.
What do you got to? I mean, why aren't there Kawais at every single gym in Hawaii or in the world?
It's a dynamic thing where they need their parents' support. They have to really, really want to do it, and they have to have their good coach that's going to help them get through and to the next level on everything. Because some of the coaches just show up just to teach that day or whatever it is, show a couple of moves and so forth. And then my thing has always been, no, when you're out there coaching, you have to give it 110%. Be animated when you're out there with them. Make them enjoy stuff. Make fun. Let them have fun, but you got to be strict on certain things.
Right. Agreed.
Versus the coaches that, here's the position we're going to do. Okay, good job, guys. See you next week or tomorrow.
Right. So you mentioned parents, right? Parental support. What kind of, you want to talk about that a little bit? What kind of support you get from your parents?
Of course. Okay, mom and dad, you might want to grab tissues for this. Nah. No, they've always been behind my back. Like, definitely. Like, they protected me. They've watched me. They cared for me. They supported me in everything I did. Everything and anything I did. And especially for jiu-jitsu, at least, I don't think there was ever a time where they would deny a request from me, unless of course it was stupid. But there was never a time where they would tell me, no, I don't think we should do this tournament. No, I don't think we should train here. Like, they never told me no in those kind of situations. They were always like, yeah, go for it. Like, we'll support you. Like, we'll have your back. Like, of course. And growing up, at least, I was always a little kolohe. So I would always make trouble in school. And there was a time, I don't mind exposing myself for this. There was a time, Coach Jay knows this story because he was the one that gave me the punishment for this one. There was a time where I ended up, I don't know why, I ended up prank calling 911 on one of my friend's phone. And I ended up getting in trouble for it. And my parents found out. They took me home, and they were like, "You're gonna go explain this to Coach Jay." And I was like, "Okay." So I explained it to Coach Jay. We talked. Me and my parents talked, and the punishment was either between 911 seconds or minutes. Minutes of wall sits.
It was a minutes.
Minutes of wall sits, or it was 911 burpees. And I'm pretty sure everybody can figure out why it was 911. And the reason why I say this, the reason I tell this story is because if there were other parents with kids, they would have just they would have just told them, okay, don't ever do that again, and just let them carry on with it. Let them carry on with their lives. But not my parents. No, they made sure they understand what I did was wrong, and they made sure that I had punishments for it so I would never do it again. And having the support like that, in good or bad situations, it was really nice. Like my dad was always hard on me as a kid, and I never understood why, and I never got it. But now especially I understand. Definitely understand why he was always pushing me, always telling me to do this. He would show me this. Like, that is actually kind of the reason why I know so many high-level athlete black belts, because he would make me watch them as a kid.
Okay.
And
your dad watches a lot of jiu-jitsu.
And dad does watch a lot of jiu-jitsu. I don't know why he doesn't do it. His grips would be freaking crazy to break. But dad support, mom support, even my sister's support, like they've been behind me ever since I started this, and it helps a lot. Like, I see a lot of kids these days, and I look at the parent support for the kids. It's hard for me, at least, when I see that the parents just drop off the kids at the gym and they just go and do whatever they want. Like, it's hard for me because in us as coaches, we really have to like take time with that kid now. And it's kind of like our responsibility fully now.
Right.
And the parents come back after their workout, so they come back from whatever they did. They pick up the kids, and then they're just asking how it went, and they just take them home, and it's like nothing. Like, I grew up in an environment where all of us kids, we always had parental support. Like, for me, I had support from aunties, uncles, and it was reciprocal throughout all of us. Like, every single kid had parental support. And it was just nice. Like, I think that's why I am where I am today, because of all of that, because of the parent support, Coach Jay, other coaches I had, teammates.
You also have a great mentor here.
Yeah, definitely.
Brothers and sisters, how many do you got?
I only have one sister, one young little sister. Beats me up every single time I try to go into her room, but that's okay.
Beyond the jiu-jitsu influence, what is like the life influence Jay has on you? Because you guys spend a lot of time together. You've been together for over 10 years. Like, life stuff, not jiu-jitsu stuff.
One life Coach Jay has been right there as well. He's always been to me like my second dad.
Yeah.
Like, anytime I got in trouble for school, like, for example, that situation.
I like 911 burpees, by the way. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he would always have a punishment for me. I actually have ADHD. I think I was diagnosed with ADHD as a kid. Okay. And in school, I could never sit still. So I would always be fussing around, always moving, throwing whatever or something like that. I was always being like an ADHD kid.
Right.
And for some reason, Mom had brought it up to Coach Jay. And I was standing there, and Coach Jay was like, anytime you're sitting in school, just shake your leg. Just shake your leg. Just bounce your heel up and off the ground. And that should help at least. And I started doing that in school. So I started sitting in my desk, and I just started shaking my leg or both of my legs. And as I was doing work, I was like, oh, this helps. Like, I wasn't fussing around. I wasn't getting distracted. I wasn't losing focus. I was doing work. And all I had to do was just bounce my heels off and on the ground. And it's not because I'm nervous. It's just because I had that ADHD, and
Or
that helped.
you're a kid and you just have energy to burn.
Yeah, and
just
plus
tons
as
of
a
energy.
kid, yeah, you have plenty of energy. So
So does jiu-jitsu help you with that? Did it help you with that?
definitely, yeah. Anytime I would get in trouble, at least in jiu-jitsu in the classes, I would get burpees. And there was a point in time where I started to love to do it. Love doing
Then
burpees.
we had to change the workout.
Then we had to change the workout, and I started doing wall sits, and that was hell.
So is there a story behind the leg thing, or was it a lucky guess, or
No,
what?
your energy has to go somewhere.
Right,
And
right.
if they're focusing on at the time for their legs, okay, just got to start this going. It's just like those fidget spinners.
Right.
Get them focused on doing a certain act, the repetitive motion. That'll get them focused on that while they're doing the other stuff, and they can focus on that other stuff.
That's cool.
Smart. I like it.
Yeah, it helped me.
We got knowledge nuggets dropping everywhere today. It's like, hey man, you're dealing with this. Here's what you gotta do.
They just got to believe that the Kool-Aid works.
Oh man, that's awesome. All right, gotta figure out how to get your dad on the mats. Peer pressure.
I would love to try.
Yeah.
I would actually love to put him in nogi
Yeah.
just because of his grips.
We gotta convince him one day. Get him out there. Get a couple guys.
He's rode before.
Yeah.
He has rode one time.
Okay.
Or maybe twice actually, and that was one time with one of our friends Brian, and then another time with Coach Jay.
Okay.
And I think after that, Dad was like, "No, this is not for me," because I think at the time, Coach was about maybe 150s, and my dad was about a little 200.
Okay.
And that's a 50-pound difference.
Right.
And for Coach Jay to put pressure, like immediate pressure from side control from anywhere on my dad was like, nope, tap, nope, tap, nope, tap. We're done. We're done here. And I think ever
It
since,
sounds like you're blaming him for your dad not training. You don't train because you gave him the works.
I think it just, like, I think everything is cut out for somebody in life. I think there's a certain thing that is totally cut out for some people in life. And I think jiu-jitsu is just not cut out for my dad.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's more cut out for my mom, actually.
Well, get your mom training.
I would love to.
Yeah.
But she just doesn't like people in her close personal space.
Yeah.
But she has the brain for it. She has the mentality for it.
Yeah.
But she just doesn't like people sweat going all over.
I do like seeing your family support for you. It's a very beautiful thing.
I'm very grateful for that.
It's like kind of the blueprint to have your kids be successful. It's like be in their lives.
Yeah, I had no idea who they were. I would show up to Keiko open mats, UFC open mats, and I'd be like,
Just two random
who are
adults.
these people that always
They're just
always
staring
here?
at us.
Yeah.
I'm always looking at that kid.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And then finally got to meet them one day. Very nice people.
I'm very grateful for them. Very grateful.
All right. Anyone got some closing thoughts? Anything you want to?
Anyone want to
Cover?
shout out sponsors?
Oh yeah, sponsor shout outs.
Family.
Thank you, Day by Day and Kikoa.
That's good. Yeah.
They got some good swag. They did the rash guards,
the rash guard and the hoodies.
sweaters, hoodies, the hats for Submission Battleground. Came out really nice.
Mm.
Those rash guards are really cool.
And then there's that Spider-Man gi from Day by Day.
Spider-Man gi.
I promise I'm not getting paid to advertise this. This is like general thoughts. Like that's a nice. It is actually a really nice gi. I wouldn't mind getting that, the Spider-Man one.
We did the podcast with AJ last week.
Yes.
Had the key on there. My 4-year-old saw it. He's like, I want one of those. So we're putting it in order this week. We're gonna get the kid size. I gotta figure it out. I don't know kid size keys, but we're gonna put the order in this week. Get him one.
Nice.
Because if that's what's gonna keep him on the match, is looking cool. Like support your kids, right?
Do what it takes, man.
Yeah. So maybe we got to get your mom a Spider-Woman gi or something.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Figure out her favorite superhero. We'll get
AJ.
Probably herself. She's my superhero. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate your time. Really
Yeah,
appreciate you
thanks for
coming down
coming
and just
out.
talking
Thank
start.
you. Thank you.
All right.
Good.
Outro.
Outro.
You guys have a closing outro, like a big YouTube video?
We're
in the
we're
back?
still working on the
yet.
name. We need a name for the podcast. That's what we're working on. So you want to brainstorm a name for us?
Ooh.
We should like crowdsource it. Like highest.
Isn't that what we've been
highest-
trying to do? We've been
Yeah,
trying to
no,
crowdsource it.
like put like a prize on it, and
Oh,
and then
okay.
like we're gonna end up with some silly. What was that boat? The like McHappy Face Dumbo or whatever. We're gonna end up. That's gonna be the name of the podcast.
I know Small Man Jiu-Jitsu started doing their intros for
Yeah.
their on the road episodes.
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
big
yeah.
truck just doing a 360. That's pretty nice.
You gotta have something. We're working on it. We're gonna get it, guys. So yeah, that was the outro.
Yeah, that was.
But thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Well,
thanks
thank you
again.
guys.
Thank you.